to block the view, he began twisting the dial back and forth. Seconds later, he yanked up the silver bolt and slowly pulled open the heavy door, only to reveal another wall of steel behind it. This time, he removed a key from his trouser pocket and turned it in the lock, swinging aside the second door to reveal the interior as dark as a midnight lunar landscape. Disappearing into the void, he drew out a small box of matches and lit one. The gentle flame seemed to soften the hard lines of his face, the bony cheeks, the pursed, pencil-thin lips, the narrow mustache, as straight as a ruler, and the wisps of receding hair combed back tight against his scalp. Standing outside the vault were his 3 young hires. Now, it was time to tell them the secret. Friedman yanked on the dangling cord attached to an overhead light bulb, switched on a nearby fan to circulate the hot, stale air, and invited them in. "Welcome, gentlemen," he said solemnly, "to the secret archives of the American Black Chamber." Until a few weeks before, none of the new recruits had had even the slightest idea what code-breaking was. Frank B. Rowlett stood next to a filing cabinet in full plumage, blue serge jacket, white pinstripe trousers, and a virgin pair of white suede shoes. Beefy and round-faced, with rimless glasses, he felt proud that he had luckily decided to wear his new wardrobe on this day. A high school teacher from rural southern Virginia, he received a degree in math the year earlier from Emory and Henry College, a small Virginia school. The 2 men standing near Rowlett were a vision of contrasts. Short, bespectacled Abraham Sinkoff, Brooklynite Solomon Kullback, tall and husky. Both were high school teachers from New York. Both were graduates of City College in New York, and both had received master's degrees from Columbia. Like a sorcerer, instructing his disciples on the mystic path to eternal life, Friedman began his introduction into the shadowy history of American cryptology. In hushed tones, he told his young employees about the Black Chamber, America's first civilian code-breaking organization. How for a decade it operated in utmost secrecy from a brownstone in New York City, how it skillfully decoded more than 10,000 messages from nearly 24 nations, including those in difficult Japanese diplomatic code. How it played the key role in deciphering messages to and from the delegates to the post-World War I disarmament talks, thus giving the American delegation the inside track. He told of Herbert Osborne Yardley, the Black Chamber's hard-drinking, poker-playing chief, who had directed the Army's cryptanalytic activities during the war. Then he related the story of the Chamber's demise 8 months earlier, how the newly appointed Secretary of State, Henry Stimson, had become outraged and ordered its immediate closing when he discovered that America was eavesdropping on friends as well as foes. Friedman told of the firing of Yardley and the rest of the Chamber's employees, and of how the government had naively taken itself out of the code-breaking business. It was a troubling prospect. If a new war were to break out, the United States would once again have to start from scratch. The advances achieved against Japan's codes would be lost forever. Foreign nations would gain great advantage, while the United States clung to diplomatic niceties. Standing in the vault containing the salvaged records of the old Black Chamber, Friedman told his 3 assistants, fresh out of college, that they were now the new Black Chamber. The Army, he said, had given its cautious approval to secretly raise the organization from the ashes, hide it deep within the bureaucracy, and rename it the Signal Intelligence Service. The State Department, they were sternly warned, was never to know of its existence. In late June 1930, America's entire cryptologic body of secrets, personnel, equipment, and records fit comfortably in a vault 25 feet square. On the southbound lane of the